Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15. And now your host, Catherine Basu.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Basu, and I didn't check the statistic before thinking I wanted to tell you this, but I'm pretty sure about 80% of people will experience lower back pain at some point in their lives. And today's guest is going to share some information that could help you if you are one of them or know someone who is experiencing lower back pain. Obviously, this is something that I can't promise and that you want to check with your doctor about other things that might be going on. But there is definitely the possibility that today's episode can help you find a solution. So I'm excited about that. What are we talking about on today's episode? Who is my guest today? My guest is Darcie Jaremey, and her passion is ergonomics and providing an excellent evidence-based resource for those who want to make their work safer. She's a board-certified professional ergonomist and a registered kinesiologist with a Master's of Science degree. She has over 15 years of experience doing ergonomic assessments. Darcie was so thorough in answering your questions that we are actually going to break today's episode up into 2 parts. So this is part 1. I hope you enjoy it. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss part 2 coming to you tomorrow. Welcome to the podcast, Darcie. I'm so excited to have you as my guest today.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Awesome. So you are an expert in ergonomics. What is ergonomics and why should we care about that anyways? Can you tell us a little background there?
Okay. Well, ergonomics is one of those really big issues that can affect our lives so much, but doesn't get a lot of attention until it's too late, until you have back pain, wrist pain, shoulder pain, or whatever. Because let's face it, we sit in our desks for 8 hours a day. If you're an online entrepreneur, it could be like 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
And for your audience, I know you have a lot of people that are really interested in health and fitness. And if you put all your attention into all that amazing stuff for your body, but neglect how you spend the majority of your day, you are not setting yourself up for success in anything that you do. So specifically ergonomics is how you sit. And a lot of people think that ergonomics is, hey, this is an ergonomics chair. I'm going to buy it and magically the ergonomics fairy is going to make me sit comfortably. But it's a very individualized type of solution for everybody. So what works for your husband will likely not work for you. Likewise, for your best friend, it won't work for you. It's all about fit. And if I can share that one element with your audience today, it's all about fit and fitting that workstation to fit you perfectly. Then I've done a really good job today, because one solution doesn't fit all, and you need to make your workstation, if I can say it again, fit you like a glove.
No, that's good to know, because I didn't realize that I would be the one that would go and buy the special chair and think that I was all set and all ready to go.
Well, I know that's a huge misconception with ergonomics. And I've said it before and I say it again, ergonomists do a horrible job at marketing themselves. They leave it to the big chair manufacturers. And a lot of times those chairs don't reflect the best interest on how to actually sit in a really simple, straightforward way. Yeah.
So what are some of these changes that we could actually make in the office? So I'm wondering, is it the chair that we go by, or are there other things that we need to do? Right.
So the big thing I want to share today too is that you don't need to be buying expensive pieces of equipment for you to sit really comfortably in your workstation. So when I say workstation, I mean, your desk, your chair, making sure your monitor is at a good height, making sure that your keyboard and your mouse are positioned well. And before you really get into this type of stuff, you probably should be aware of warning signs. So just like in fitness and working out, there's certain warning signs in setting up your workstation that you have to be aware of. So if you ever feel that you're in some pain or discomfort, or your range of motion of like your shoulder or your wrist, it just hurts and it's not the same, then that's a good indication that you really need to be addressing some specific things on how things are adjust for you. But I want to share with you the biggest tip that will like help 90% of your audience. And it's making sure that everything is just set up right. And the key things that you need to know is that you need to have a neutral posture. And if I can share that again, like what works for you probably won't work for anybody else, because you are so unique in the way that you are. So specifically, your desk height has to be lower than your neutral elbow height. Your monitor height has to be slightly lower than your seated eye height. When you sit in your chair, your elbow height in your chair, I guess this is just saying a different way, has to be slightly higher than your desk. And if it's not, then you're going to be getting into shoulder issues. Your feet have to be on the ground. And if you can nail those things, those are really the key aspects for your workstation to fit you like a really, really nice glove. You should be able, at the end of the day, just slide into there, and you shouldn't feel any pain or soreness or discomfort anywhere in your body.
Well, I'm already making notes. So you said that my elbow should be above my keyboard. So is that correct?
Yes. And that is so, it's a fact that I see around the clock when I do ergonomics assessments, that most people have their desk positioned way too high. So they're leaning forward in their desk. They are looking up. They're doing all these really awful postures that may hurt them in the long run, because it's the simple adjustments and being aware of how your body feels that's really going to make you feel more comfortable in years and years and years to come.
Well, I'm already feeling the elbow and the keyboard test, so I know I have some work to do personally.
Yeah, and a simplest solution to how you can get across to that is just raise your chair.
Hi friends, it's Catherine, and that sound is your halfway point reminder. If you're joining us and going for an out and back walk and only have 15 minutes, you will want to turn around now. All right, back to Darcie.
Most of us have chair adjustability, if this is the only thing, is that can raise. That's not the most important thing about a chair, but the fact is that if you're sitting in a workstation and you can't lower your desk, at least you can raise your chair and then put something below your feet. So your feet are maintained, having that good floor contact at all times.
Got it. Okay, so there's a lot of trendy things. Obviously, there's those special ergonomically, what do I even call them? I feel like I know what you're talking about with the chairs, but there are those special ones. But then I had people, ask questions about some of the things that have been promoted. So I would definitely want to know what your thoughts are on these. But one that comes up is the stability balls. What do you think about that as your office chair?
Oh my gosh, stability balls. No. Okay. So there has been so much research saying that stability balls are great for short periods of time, for building core strength, for rehab, but there is no good reason to be using a stability ball in the office for 12 hours a day. Research clearly says that those muscles that are in your core, they can't be functioning all day long. You're going to get fatigued. You're going to lean forward. There's a safety risk from falling off. And the most important thing about a chair is supporting your lumbar support. So what I say to people when I see them in an office using a stability ball, they're usually using that stability ball because the rest of their workstation isn't set up well for them. So that should be your number one attention, making sure that everything's within a neutral posture. The things that I mentioned before, especially the desk height, is within all optimal positioning to fit you. And likely the chair that you're using before getting the stability ball needs to be adjusted. And perhaps you even need a different chair with better lower back or lumbar support.
Got it. So save the stability ball for their session with their trainer.
Yeah, really. Yeah, they're absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, would you say if they've grown accustomed to it or they enjoy it, like how long would you say that they could maybe sit on it, as like a little break? I guess as I'm even saying this, I feel like, well, it might not be allowing them to have their elbow and their eyes, properly aligned with their computer. But assuming that was possibly true, like how long would you say it's okay to sit on one before you're really becoming too fatigued to have it be useful anymore for the core benefits?
Right. And that's a really good thing to say too, because I've come across people who use stability balls in the office and they swear by them. They will not try anything else. It says it works for them. And I usually say, cool, if you've been using it for 5 years and you have any issues, who am I to say that that's wrong? Even though, the literature says this.
Right.
The personal preference of, the stability ball, maybe it's like a placebo. I don't know. I'm kind of getting off track. But the amount of time depends on that person. Mm-hmm. And if that person, let's talk about the amount of times that you can sit versus stand at one time. And research says that you should be sitting between 30 minutes to less than 1 hour at one time before getting up. So maybe using criteria like that, those type of guidelines.
Sure.
Can help, but I wish I could give you an answer.
No, but I think it's getting at, like it's a lot of times there's these trendy things that definitely happens in my industry, in the fitness industry. And it seems like here, right, the trendy thing of a stability ball in the fitness industry, which I think is good. I mean, I feel like I don't know the whole history, but the way I understand it from just going through and seeing it become a trendier item over, the last decade is that, used more in rehab and then becoming something that was used more for core work for the general exercise population, but then crossing over into the workspace, which maybe we should just keep it, it was good for rehab situations and it's good for building core strength in the gym, but maybe we really, keep it in the gym or keep it, like you said, maybe like we take that break in that hour span to get some movement in, to not be sitting at our desk anymore. Maybe we use it then, but not as like our solution to having a good workspace ergonomically, right? So
absolutely. Yeah. Just to say one more time, you did nail it on the head, and it's seen as an opportunity that something's not right in that person's workstation, ergonomically speaking, if they want to use a chair. And oftentimes it's just simple adjustments that will make that person feel a lot better instead of getting that stability ball.
It's not bad, but we also have that whole, sitting is the new smoking. And then we have this thing about standing desks. So what do you think about standing desks and sitting? I mean, is sitting bad? I think we've kind of mentioned this a little bit, but could you touch on those 2 points, the standing desks and sitting in general? Is it really so bad? Okay,
well, I use a standing desk. In fact, Catherine, I'm standing right now, and I absolutely love standing, but just like too much of a good thing, you can stand too long, and it can cause your body pain and strains and long-term discomfort. There are guidelines, just like for sitting, there's guidelines for standing. And I looked into the literature on this, and there's a number of things that you should know. There's different categories that you should know if you're incorporating standing into your day. Now, I should say this with a point that you don't need a standing desk to get the functionality of standing. You can stand in a lot of creative ways throughout your day to get that change of posture for your back. Because standing by itself is kind of like a passive back stretch, because you're not being flexed forward in your chair. You're almost an extension in a way, but very passively. So that function alone is so amazing for long-term back health and, to get rid of those waste products in your back, reduce the strain on the discs of your spine, and relax some of those supporting musculatures too. So you can incorporate standing really doing anything part of your usual day. You can incorporate standing when you're on a phone call, maybe when you're reading a document, when, I don't know, really anything, right? You can make your own standing workstation at your desk with putting things in boxes below your keyboard and your monitor. So there's a lot of opportunities here. But I do think that there's a lot of value in changing your posture, whether it's limiting sitting to less than 1 hour at a time or incorporating a safe amount of standing. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about standing, like I did mention that there's certain guidelines, but just like starting a new fitness routine or anything to that matter, you have to start at a really safe level and work yourself up in a gradual amount of time, or else you're going to be getting those strains and pains that nobody wants.
Right.
But the gold standard for standing is to stand less than 1 hour at a time and less than 4 hours in a day. That's the least.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very simple, right? And that's the least amount of risk that you're going to experience in your day. And one note about the setup too, when you change your workstation from sitting to standing, the same things come into effect that you need to adjust. Mm-hmm. But the good thing with standing, there's less things to do since you don't have to worry about the chair or the ground contact because you're going to be standing.
Sure.
So the same thing would play in effect. The monitor has to be slightly lower than your neutral eye height. And then the bottom of the monitor needs to be tilted upwards at about 20 degrees. And your keyboard and your mouse need to be slightly lower than your neutral elbow height when your shoulders are relaxed.
Got it. Okay, cool. So similar principles applying there for standing.
I get so into this. As you can tell, like it's my passion. So I get really deep when it comes to ergonomic stuff. So I hope that your audience is finding this valuable.
Hi friends, it's Catherine. I hope you're finding this episode valuable. I know I've found it tremendously valuable. I have a list of things I'm going to have to change about my own desk setup to make things better for me, even though I haven't been experiencing any low back issues. I'm sure it's only a matter of time if I keep my regular workspace set up. So I'm excited to implement what Darcie has shared just from today's part of our conversation. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Search for The Fit 15 so you get a reminder to tune in tomorrow for part 2 of this episode where we'll talk about general tips for making sure your posture is correct in your chair. And then also Darcie addresses some other listener questions like one about gaming chairs, which are very popular. So I hope you'll tune in then. Other note for you, for those of you who are regular listeners, I did say that I would share with you the third part of my Way Back Wednesday series, a little series of some older workout videos I had recorded for Fit Armadillo, but not released as videos until now. So we're going into the vault there, but I will have that ready for you on Thursday. So it'll be a throwback Thursday versus Way Back Wednesday. I thought it would be better to have you listen to these 2 episodes back to back instead of throwing in the workout one on Wednesday. But hopefully I am making a good judgment call there. You'll subscribe so you won't miss either of those. And let us know if you have any more questions about ergonomics. I know I had a few other listener questions that came through after I talked to Darcie, but she is pretty awesome and I think she would come back. So if you want to share some other questions that you have, especially after listening to tomorrow's episode, shoot me an email, podcast@fitarmadillo.com, and I will see if I can get Darcie back on the show to answer additional questions you might have. All right, thanks so much for listening. I hope you will subscribe so I chat with you tomorrow and share the rest of this interview then. While you're waiting, don't forget to leave a rating and review for the show and share this episode if you know someone who would find value in some of the tips that have been shared so far. All right, that's all I have for you today. I'll chat with you guys tomorrow. Bye.